Welcome, bienvenidos, benvindu, to the Soccermetrics Copa LIbertadores show, part of the SDH network. The only English language show devoted to South America's premier club competition. I'm your host, Howard Hamilton, the founder of Soccermetrics. After 6 weeks of preliminary stage matches, this is the week that the Copa LIbertadores truly begins. It's the start of the group stage. It's a group stage that will take us to familiar places such as Buenos Aires, Montevideo, Rio and Sao Paulo, Santiago, Quito, and Bogota. It will also stop in places where LIbertadores hasn't ventured for some time, such as Cusco, Mirasol, Vicente Lopez, and Coquimbo. All of these stops will grant you a seat on the train. Your play in the group stage will determine how long you'll be allowed to stay. In this episode, I'll preview the 16 matches that make up Match Day 1 of the group stage, and I'll pick out the 3 featured matches of the week. And just as a reminder, in this match day, seeds 3 and 4 will play this week at home. Number 4 will host seed number 2, seed number 3 hosting seed number 1. So the bottom seeds will be under pressure to win points, but they'll have to do so against the higher seeded teams. So now let's move into the 3 featured matches of this match week. We start in Group D with the encounter between Universidad Católica versus Boca Juniors. A lot of controversy off the field concerning this match, particularly involving the number of visiting fans allowed to enter from Argentina. But now turning to the action on the field. And Universidad Católica entered this match having defeated Palestino 6-1 last Thursday. They're currently 3rd in Chile's Primera División, 4 points behind the leaders Colo-Colo. Their key players who they're going to look to in this week's match include Fernando Sampedri, who leads Primera División with 11 goals scored, and Justo Gianni, who is 2nd in the league with 5 goals scored. However, Católica have a sizable injury list. The most significant injury was suffered recently to Tomás Asta Buraga. He suffered an ACL injury, and he will be out for almost the remainder of the year. There are also injuries to Sebastián Arancibia, Gary Medel, Ignacio Perez, and Jeffrey Segota. In fact, the right side of the field for Universidad Católica has been shredded by injury, and how they choose to replace that which has been lost will be the biggest challenge to them, not only in this match versus Boca, but in the remaining group stage program. Boca Juniors, for their part, won 1-0 at Talleres last week, and they're currently 3rd place in Group A of Argentina's Apertura tournament. They're unbeaten in their last 9 matches. They also have a sizable injury list. Players such as Edinson Cavani, Agustin Marchesín with an adductor strain, Rodrigo Batalla, who will be out for 6 months due to an Achilles tendon injury, Milton Jimenez, Ezequiel Ceballos, Carlos Palacios. Really a sizable part of Boca's talent is on the sidelines. Miguel Merentiel, who's the leading goal scorer, he suffered a calf injury. It's uncertain whether he will appear. Santiago Escasa-Cibar, who came in from Estudiantes de La Plata in the offseason, he's injured. So they'll look to players who are available to play. Leandro Paredes, who's the leading goal creator for Boca, is available. Adam Barriero is also a player who they'll look to, as well as Ander Herrera, the veteran player. He played several years at Manchester United, originally from Athletic Bilbao. He joined the team within the past year, so they're going to be looking to him. Close to return, Juan Barinaga. He suffered a grade 1 strain of his adductor muscle. These are two teams that have met a number of times in South American competitions, but just twice in the Libertadores, Boca winning both group stage matches in 2000. They're going to look for a similar result here against a Universidad Católica side that is going to be up for it, but both sides have significant injuries that they will have to manage. The second of the featured matches sees Sporting Cristal hosting Paraguay's Cerro Porteño. Sporting Cristal are having an indifferent run in Peru's Liga Uno. They lost 2-1 at home to Moquegua, and they're currently 9th in the league. They have a sizable injury list as well. Josimar Yotun, the Peruvian international, formerly of Orlando City, is out due to a muscle injury. They also have injuries to goalkeeper Renato Solis, Christopher Gonzalez, and Gabriel. They're going to be looking to Luis Iberico and Miguel Araujo to produce scoring chances and convert those chances in the match. Cerro Porteño are currently second in Paraguay's Apertura tournament. They won 3-0 at home to Segunda de Mayo on the weekend. Their key players will be Cecilio Dominguez, key goal scorer for them, Ignacio Aliceda, Jonathan Torres, Alexis Arias, the goalkeeper, and center back Lucas Quintana. 21 years old, he's a rising talent for the Paraguayan side. The last of our three featured matches sees Rosario Central hosting Ecuador's Independiente del Valle. IDV is one of those sides that is perennially seen as a rising power in South American football. They've won Copa Sudamericana a pair of times. They appeared in a Libertadores final in 2018. They're also a side that promises a lot, but doesn't deliver as much. Rosario Central haven't appeared in Libertadores in a while. They are currently third in Group B of Argentina's Apertura tournament, winning 2-1 versus Atletico Tucumán. With one loss in their last 6 matches, they're in a good rhythm at the moment. Their key players, Huntington Campas, Alejo Vélez, Enzo Jimenez, Vicente Pizarro, and of course, Angel Di Maria. The World Cup champion is co-leader for Rosario Central with Vélez with 4 goals scored. They have a couple of injury concerns. We know that these 2 players will be out. Juan Jimenez with a knee injury, and Juan Cruz Comar, who was diagnosed with a heart problem and hasn't played in several months. Independiente del Valle are the current leaders of Ecuador's Liga Pro. They defeated Orense 2-0 over the weekend. Their key players include Alan Rodriguez, Patrick Mercado, and Jorge Reasco. They have a long injury list, including Guido Villar, Richard Schunke, Patrick Mercado, the aforementioned Mercado, and John Arroyo, who suffered a broken tibia and fibula and will be out for the remainder of the year. So those are the 3 featured matches in match day 1 of Copa Libertadores. And turning to the rest of the group stage, starting in Group A, Independiente Medellin will host Estudiantes de La Plata. Both sides dealing with significant injuries. Didier Moreno out for El Dim. Estudiantes without Santiago Arzamendia, who blew out his knee and will be out for a significant amount of time. Cusco will host Flamengo. Cusco was a side formerly known as Real Garcilaso. They changed their name in 2019. They were recently in Libertadores in 2019. Actually, they changed their name right after their participation in Libertadores concluded. Flamengo will open their defense of their title on the road in Peru. In Group B, Deportes Tolima hosting Universitario in the first Libertadores meeting between these two sides since 1983. Both matches ended in a draw back then. If it's going to result in a draw in anything other than a draw, it's going to require more than what these two teams have delivered in the past. Universitario are notoriously a low-scoring side. More likely than not, their matches in Libertadores have ended in draws. So if the match is going to end in a positive result, it's more than likely to come from Deportes Tolima. The other match in the group sees Coquimbo Unido host Nacional. Coquimbo returning for the first time in Libertadores since 1992. Nacional being a perennial participant in this competition. Coquimbo will be without Rodrigo Olgado. He was suspended by FIFA for 12 months for being involved in a falsified document scheme to play for the Malaysian national team. That appeal was recently denied, and so Coquimbo will be without Rodrigo Olgado for the remainder of the year. Group C sees Independiente Rivadavia hosting Club Bolivar. This is the first ever Libertadores match for Independiente Rivadavia, who are also leading the table in Argentina's Primera División. Bolivar are looking to secure something different from what they achieved last season on the road. They failed to earn any away points in 2025. They won 4 away points in 2024, and that was part of the reason why they advanced to the latter stages of the tournament. The other match in the group sees Deportivo La Guaira hosting Fluminense. Deportivo are second in Venezuela's Primera. Fluminense are third in Brasileirão. A couple of former MLS players will be involved in this match, both for Fluminense, Jefferson Savarino and Luciano Acosta, the former MLS MVP. Group D sees Barcelona hosting Cruzeiro. These two teams have had contrasting fortunes in their domestic leagues. Barcelona have started well in Liga Pro. They're a top 3 side in that competition. Cruzeiro are next to last, and they recently changed their manager, and they're going to be looking to Libertadores to jumpstart their campaign. Group E sees Platense hosting Corinthians. This is Platense's premiere in Copa Libertadores, having won the Apertura competition in Argentina last year. Big question for Corinthians, who will play for them? Who will play for Timao this week? There are a couple players who weren't on the plane, won't be present, such as Memphis Depay. Going to be really interesting to see who will be present for the Brazilian side. The other match sees Santa Fe hosting Peñarol. Santa Fe have Edwin Mosquera, the former Atlanta United player, playing for them. Peñarol are a really interesting side in that they're very talented. They advanced to the semifinals 2 seasons ago. They were unlucky to get knocked out by Racing Club last season. They're a side that can play with anyone in Libertadores. What is in their negative column is that they're a year older and they have a sizable injury list. But any side that has Leo Fernandez and Maximiliano Oliveira competing for them will always have a chance. In Group F, Junior of Colombia will host Palmeiras. Palmeiras have won all 4 previous matches versus Junior, with an aggregate scoreline of 11 goals to 1. Palmeiras will be without Paulinho or Victor Roque, however. In Group G, another debutant will make their debut in Libertadores when Mirassol hosts Lanús. Marcelo Moreno, another former Atlanta United player, is on the Lanús roster, but he hasn't played in 2 months because of a foot injury. The other match in the group sees a battle between two clubs playing at altitude, with Always Ready hosting Liga de Quito. Always Ready playing at a slightly higher altitude than Liga de Quito. This is the first time that these two clubs have met in Libertadores play. They played in Sudamericana in 2024. LDU, who advanced to the semifinals last year, will be the stronger side despite the altitude advantage, but they do have a number of injuries to manage, such as Gonzalo Valle, Jose Quintero, and Fernando Cornejo. And finally, in Group H, Universidad Central of Venezuela will host Libertad in the first ever meeting between the two sides. So those are the 16 matches that make up Match Day 1 of the Copa Libertadores group stage. And a reminder that this week you can follow all 16 matches on either Fanati's, Fubo Sports, or YouTube, where the radio broadcast will be streamed. Got a question or comment about this podcast or about the Libertadores? Send them to my X handle at Soccermetrics. You can also send questions or comments to @SoccerDownHere or to Jason Longshore at Longshoe. I'll be back later in the week to look back at Match Day 1 of the Libertadores group stage. This has been the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, proudly part of the SDH network. See you later. Hasta luego e até mais.